Introduction. Have you ever had the feeling that you're ignored all the time, even when you give? Or do you wonder why certain people do this? Command attention with ease while others face difficulties in hush. We'll reveal the 9 today. Strong psychological techniques based on Stoic principles that were previously understood and used might increase your impact and prioritize you in every space you enter. Into a strategy like this is so mild but really potent that you possibly been utilizing it without even understanding from a Stoic perspective that you will not just learn more about people mind, but also discover how to change dynamics in your discussions, gatherings, and even in seemingly routine daily life conversations. I implore you to remain with me till the very end as each tactic. Each component of this puzzle increases if you miss the next one, you'll miss the whole picture if you're as fervent regarding personal development as I think you are. Pause to strike that alert bell and subscribe. It's important to deal with these tactics as instruments for comprehension human conduct, as well as for moral managing social situations by leaning more. Are you moving in the direction of awareness and influence? Ready to uncover what has been concealed in plain sight? Well, let's work together to solve this. One should foster an atmosphere of method. 1. Humans are inherently intrigued to mystery, to the unknowable and beggarly riddles resolved by preserving a component of mystery about oneself. You force others to look for you in order to find out what lies on a deeper level. This doesn't indicate being aloof or remote, but instead choose what information to provide, and when it's a careful balance, sharing just enough to interact, yet refrain from doing so sufficiently. To Marcus Aurelius once pondered, the being on the side is not the purpose of life, of the majority, but to avoid being discovered, placing oneself among the crazy in a society where excessive sharing is rampantly defying expectations. By being more cautious, guarantees that you're not just in the clamor, there is another voice. Makes those around you pay attention when you talk and appreciate your views. But it's important to make sure this does not deviate from truthfulness, or authenticity in manipulation is still crucial. Being enigmatic does not entail producing misleading statements about oneself. It's about developing your timing skills and revelation. And as individuals become more, they are interested in you and give priority to your presence, as well as mastering this technique, in my opinion, sets the groundwork for a more powerful one. As you keep following this mysterious route, you will discover that creating others. Knowing what to do next can be a powerful instrument. It's not only about playing games while comprehending human psychology and growing by utilizing this. Being distant or uninterested in the essential is in striking a balance between active listening and periods of deliberate quiet that guarantee your conversations are still sincere. Now, consider the countless opportunities that arise when combining a purposeful silence with another effective tactic that promises to increase your impact and make sure you're not only observed, but recalled. The advantages of mastering. The next tactic is to be more visible. With a charm that few can withstand, 3 persuasive masters. Method 3. Have you ever come across any stories? You're having trouble making your argument. Do you ever wonder why certain concepts stick while others collapse in spite of their merit? The solution could be easier than you prioritize storytelling over technology. Prior to contemporary schooling, and even before too, when it came to written language, the strength of the narrative, from prehistoric campfires to the viral videos of the day, have been the secret force that influences perceptions and motivates activities and adjustments to the mind in a prudent manner. Men of note are disturbed by things, not by things, but based on their perception of them. When you frame things, perception is everything. Your points in a story that you offer a prism that allows others to consider the circumstances directing their interpretation, and hence their responses to the art of storytelling eyes, in its capacity to create listeners, experience a sense of belonging to the story's ability to evoke empathy and make your opinions strike a personal chord with me. Level. Picture yourself attempting to convince a group to take on a difficult project instead of enumerating details. And figures tell a story of victory over hardships of pioneers who encountered comparable difficulties and surfaced. Victorious compare and contrast their challenges and the current work, making it evident that the path may be difficult, yet the material and immaterial benefits are worthwhile. The project suddenly isn't simply another assignment, but it's a noble quest, and everyone aspires to be a hero in their own narrative. But with the authority of narrative's need, people are able to feel honesty when a story is fabricated, or when its only the objective is to manipulate in order to discover true parallels and linkages. And genuine feelings, this genuineness in addition to the art of storytelling, creates an unequaled combination, which guarantees that your voice is not just heard, but recalled as enthralling as stories might be, just one aspect of the puzzle that our next tactic explores. A notion that is so fundamental to human nature can open doorways when it is bridged. Previously believed Locked 4 uses the idea of method 4 reciprocity. Consider the last instance in which a modest act of kindness made your day easier. An unexpected coffee favor from a co-worker, from a companion, or an unforeseen praise, persistent search for exterior. The essence of affirmation frequently fades. Control your thoughts, not the outer world. Events recognize this, and you'll discover strength, Marcus Aurelius said. Clarion is calling for attention with these remarks, internally by recognizing and fostering our self-worth, which we unintentionally portray a sense of confidence that this isn't concerning conceit or an exaggerated ego, but a sincere admiration for oneself, acknowledging one's strengths and potential when you value and put yourself first. Unintentionally starts to reflect that sentiment as you set out on this journey. Of self-love, it's important to comprehend that it's not about ignoring others or turning selfish. It's concerning equilibrium, similar to the idea of reciprocity that flourishes on sincere actions. Self-love emerges when it originates from genuine self-reflection and regard for oneself by devoting time and energy into oneself, whether it is by establishing boundaries or learning self-care. Aries, you let the cosmos know that you. This, in turn, alters perceptions, encouraging people in the vicinity to respect and give you priority. But setting oneself first is a vital influence pillar, yet it's only a piece of the enormous psychic mosaic tactics as the next one draws nearer. Strategy foresees a method that guarantees control over emotional ebbs and flows. Maybe becoming into allies of adversaries. 6. Actually pay attention to method. 6. People with a lot of voices looking for focus. A silent power appears for people who actually listen for a moment. Every person longs to be heard. Be comprehended by giving someone the gift of your full focus. You don't only learn more about their ideas and aspirations, but also put yourself in as a ray of hope and respect. Epicus once mirrored our own one mouth and two ears, so that we should listen twice as much as we say. Words highlight the significant influence of active listening, even though many people nod their heads and await their opportunity to speak. A good listener takes in procedures and answers that give the speaker a sense of importance. This small gesture is frequently disregarded in its potency, creates a trusting relationship by giving someone else a sense of recognition, become a vital component in their life to make sure you're rarely disregarded and often given priority. But the skill of listening isn't just quiet. It's a deliberate process of comprehending and delving into the profundity of someone else's statements, identifying the concealed feelings and intents. At its core It's about being both mentally and. As you become proficient in this art, emotionally only do you turn into a storehouse of secrets and expertise. But you also possess the capacity to impact the way decisions are made, viewed. Setting, as we are all aware, people have a tendency to tend to stability, particularly steadiness of emotions, by being stoic and exhibiting the capacity to maintain composure and sensible in circumstances where others might falter right away, which distinguishes you. It's similar to being the storm's anchor. People will look to you instinctively for direction, and in doing so, put you on a pedestal, but keep in mind that it's not about repression, but comprehension and directing feelings. Effectively, Epicurus said, we are unable to select our external situations, but we always have a choice. Way we react to things, which reflects the core of this tactic, by exhibiting command of your responses that give you confidence, you also acquire the capacity to kindly direct those people's feelings in your vicinity. If someone's rage can be placated by your serenity, or their melancholy can find comfort in your words, you turn into a lighthouse that attracts them. Yet this is more than just amusement. It's a duty too. There is a deeper layer, so handle it carefully. To this, beyond simply projecting serenity, recognize the emotional. The room's undercurrents, identify the unspoken emotions, react to them, and you'll discover that people are growing more willing to listen to you, not because you are playing tricks, but because you're recognizing and connecting with them fundamentally with the comprehension of, you can only control one feeling at a time. Strategy is still in place. Can you guess what it is? Is that you may have been utilizing it despite being aware that 9 is eager to walk. Method 9. There's a subtle strength hidden away in the capacity to distance oneself by walking away. When circumstances call for it, it's not an act of cowardice or apathy, is the evidence of one's own value and the acknowledgement of one's own worth. When you are certain of your value, departing the it becomes becoming a decision rather than a response. Attachment is often linked to care or dedication, yet it can quickly turn into a chain by constantly being accessible, leaning backwards, and affirming that your value diminishes that of others. To anticipate rather than value your participation and presence, and that's when an imbalance occurs and the scales tip. Playing hard to get isn't the point of root. It's about being difficult to forget about. Serbia stated that the man isn't the one who has to small, but the guy who longs for more is too impoverished to be prepared to leave. Accept the core of this information. It's realizing that there is depth in respect for oneself and autonomy. When people perceive you as not being constrained by, they begin with neediness or desperation. Seeing you in a different light, they start to acknowledge that in order to have your time, your ability, or maybe your business by understanding this, privilege becomes a right. Strategy, you let the world know that the gift of your presence might be reclaimed at any moment.